Hi everyone, I'm Shruti from Onco.com and you are watching The Thing About Cancer. This is a show where we talk to different people who can help us with our cancer journeys. As you already know, cancer brings a lot of anxiety into our lives. It could be anxiety from the diagnosis, fear of an upcoming hospital visit, or worry about the side effects of chemotherapy, like hair fall or weight loss. Sometimes, even after completing treatment, we continue to live in fear of a relapse. So today, we are talking to Dr. Diana Montero, who's a counseling psychologist with over 18 years of experience. She will help us understand how we can deal with our anxiety. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Montero.
Hey.
We'll start off with the first thing I had in mind was there are different types of anxieties that we face: fear of medical procedures, fear of a relapse. So how do we prepare ourselves to deal with these anxieties?
Sure, that's a great question. Anxiety itself is a very normal thing that we experience, and everybody experiences some amount of anxiety in their daily life. Now, when you have a diagnosis of cancer, I think that anxiety increases, and that also to a certain extent is quite normal. So, if you and your loved one are experiencing this kind of anxiety, it's quite normal, but I think we got to watch out for when it starts to get overwhelming or distressing. So, some signs to look out for would be the excessive worrying, the obsessive thinking about it nonstop, which, for to a certain extent, you can't help. But when it takes over your life in such a way where you can't function. The restlessness or the muscle tensions, the insomnia, not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, being very irritable. Now, all of these are normal anxiety symptoms, but when they continue for a longer period of time, or the intensity of them is too much, that's when you really need to start doing something about it. Now, you're right, the fear of medical procedures or the fear of side effects or after treatment, the fear of relapse, these are the things that cancer patients and family members are always worried about. In my experience, it's, oh my god, what if this happens to me? And if you're a patient already who's had cancer and who's had anxiety in the past, then definitely the anxiety shoots way high because it's just too much to deal with, right? So first thing to remember is long-term goal of treatment in general, of medical procedures in general, is to help you. It's not to hurt you. So yes, there are consequences, there will be side effects, but for the most part, many of those side effects and consequences hopefully are temporary and do go away eventually. Now, the eventually is not maybe a couple of days, it might take a few weeks or a few months while your body heals, right? Also, side effects that are considered the worst side effects can be somewhat managed with medication. Now, this doesn't make the unpleasantness of the experience any less, but talk to your doctor, talk to your treatment team about your fears, your anxieties, and they will be able to help you with whatever they can give you, for example, to help you deal with your anxiety or deal with the side effects, whatever you are scared of. So really important to do a lot of deep breathing during every procedure you go through, because your body holds on to the tension, the muscle tension, and relaxing it out will really help, even with pain, for example, right? Now, stay involved in the treatment process. Focus on one day, one step at a time. Really important to do, though it's very hard to do. Keep reminding yourself you will get through this. The other way to manage anxiety is to give yourself time to adjust to the new life that you have now because of this illness, and take the time. Anxiety increases on one side, you can do things on the other side to manage the stress in your life. Do the reading, do the music, do the meditation, do the connecting with others, things that will help you manage all of that stress the anxiety causes. Focus mainly on the things you can control, and let the things you can't control be put aside for a little while in your mind for the time being. And when we can control them, we'll go to controlling them. But until then, focus on the things you can control. That's the way to manage.
Perfect, wonderful. And apart from talking to the medical practitioners and everyone else about our treatment, do you think talking to others, for example, in a group or group therapy, do you think that benefits cancer patients and caregivers as well?
Absolutely. I think support groups can be very helpful to patients as well as to their family members or caregivers, because really, cancer is such an illness that many times people don't even want to share that they have it because of the stigma associated with it, right? And so, stigma is just that, it's stigma. And so, having a space to talk about it really relieves so much stress to begin with. So, when you talk to somebody else with the same experience that you are having, you allow others to hear the experience you're having. That itself can be so healing psychologically, right? Now it makes you more hopeful, it makes you not feel so alone, and it also gives you the chance to talk about your feelings and process them. See, the cancer is a physical illness you have, but there are so many tons of feelings that come up with it, from grief, loss, sadness, so many things, and all of those feelings need some processing time. So the groups can give you that chance. The other wonderful thing about support groups is that usually there are real people there who've experienced this before. So they come up with real solutions to practical problems.
Yeah.
A professional like me can never give you the practical solution because I have not experienced it. But I can help you be a part of a group where the person, can tell you how horrible it is to have, vomiting as one of the effects that's happening, and what do you do? How do you prepare yourself? I would not be able to do that, and that makes it so much easier to deal with. Family role changes, financial worries, things that you might not otherwise even know what to ask about. Support groups can help you with it. So, most of the time we don't want to talk about things like this, like cancer, because of our own fears of it. So, a support group where everyone has had some experience with this is an open and safe place to talk. The only thing to remember before you join a support group is think about whether you are okay with talking about your personal problems or personal issues, because support groups are wonderful places for most people. Some people might not like them. Or you might have joined a support group and later you might not need one as much anymore. And that's okay too. But reaching out and trying once would be a great idea for sure.
That's great advice, Doctor. In your extensive experience speaking to patients of cancer and other terminal illnesses, can you share a few insights from that?
Sure. Patients that I work with often come in seeking counseling for themselves. So they are either, working with me on accepting this diagnosis or what it might mean for them and their family. Like, how do I prepare my family for this? Or they're working really hard on how do I defeat this illness. Those are the kinds of things I typically see because people come in directly for counseling to me. Other times, patients don't come, their family members come to see me and they say, the patient doesn't seem as upset as I am. Like, they seem okay with it, but I am not able to handle it. Like, what should I do? So they come in to understand, as a family member, how should I deal with this diagnosis and how should I behave around, my family member who has the diagnosis of cancer. Now, many times, both sides come in with a fair amount of anxiety, so we work on managing that anxiety, right? Now, it's important that you do things that relieve the stress that you're experiencing. Even if you think you're not experiencing any stress, my work with my clients is always, relieve the stress, do meditation, do exercise if it's possible. And very importantly, live life as normally as possible. Don't freeze and stop living life completely, and don't focus exclusively on the cancer and say, this is my life from now on. Yes, the cancer is a part of your life, but it doesn't have to define your life in any way, right? The important thing I think in all of this is to really deal with the reality of what you're facing and be honest about how you're feeling. So whatever it is that you're feeling is likely quite normal, allowing the time, as I said, to process your emotions. And a lot of work I do with patients at this time with family members is about the meaning of life, the purpose of life. These things become very significant, and I see people starting to make sense of their life differently after a diagnosis in their family. Fear is very common, but so is a greater sense of connection between families. And this happens in families that communicate well. So if the internal family communication is good, then it makes it a more pleasant experience and a more positive experience in terms of treatment for the whole family. If it's not a great communication pattern, then working on that to improve those relationships in life are what we work on. But overall, in my experience, most people who are facing a diagnosis of cancer do want to fight it and do want to let their family members know that they are going to be okay, and they want to know that their family is okay. That's kind of the work I do with patients. Yeah.
Wonderful. So you did speak about meditation and things like that, and people do try their best to handle anxiety by themselves through all of these tasks. But sometimes it might become necessary to seek professional help, to speak to someone like yourself. When does this become necessary?
With anything in life, whenever the psychology or professional help or psychologists rather are available. Now, most of the time we're reaching out to our friends, our family members, our loved ones to be able to help us. And that's what you do even with a diagnosis like this, right? Now, it's important to note that everybody copes differently. And it's not uncommon to need professional help or to not need professional help as well. But knowing when to reach out to a professional is this, think about what you're experiencing. And if you're feeling like, okay, I'm just not sure how to deal with something, go talk to a professional. It's doing a mental health check is just like doing a physical health check. You will go and give blood to check your blood sugar and your BP. Same way, talking to a counselor can help you just make sure that you are doing fine. Now, what do you experience? Adjustment, grief, anger, loss, fear. So many things are experienced. And so if you're feeling a lot of things and you're feeling overwhelmed, it's a great time to go reach out to a professional. Now, most of the time, people don't reach out to a professional because of the stigma associated with the illness. But let's start by remembering the only way to fight stigma is prejudice and bias that exists for no reason at all, right? So the way to fight it is to actually go deal with it directly head on. So according to me, everybody who gets diagnosed should be encouraged to seek help. So in fact, if a counselor is on every cancer treatment team, then families and patients, both who experience this illness, can be made more positive and they can cope much more easily with this illness. So if you're wondering, should I seek help? That's probably the answer is probably yes, you should. If you're not wondering it also, I would say go ahead and at least have one session just to sometimes patients come to me and say, I just want to know if I need help. And I check and I see how they're doing and I tell them, you're doing great. Right now, it doesn't look like you need help, but if this changes, come on in and see me. That's the way to do it, to me.
I think that's wonderful. So I think the main takeaway from this, for me at least, has been like most people who are starting out on their cancer journeys, look for a holistic approach. They want to consult a nutritionist, also a radiation oncologist, a surgical oncologist. You want to have all the experts on your team. And for it to be truly holistic, I think we also need to have a counselor, a psychologist on your team, not just for yourself, but for your caregivers, everyone else in your family who has to adjust to your treatment, to your diagnosis. So I think that's the way forward. And for anyone who's watching this, who, like Doctor said, if you're thinking, do I need to talk to someone? The answer is probably yes. And even if this didn't occur to you till now, there is no harm in reaching out, checking with someone like Dr. Montero, asking them, what do you think? Where do you think I am? And getting an evaluation of how you're coping. So I think that's fantastic advice from you, Dr. Montero. And I'm really grateful that you spoke to us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That was Dr. Montero telling us about how we can deal with our anxiety and how it is important sometimes that we speak to people, even professionals, psychologists, and counselors to help us with our journey. Thank you, viewers, for watching this video. Next week, we shall be back with another person who will enrich our journey in a different way. Thank you.